had to give myself a reality check. I told myself, girl, you out here buying all these things, treating yourself to all this stuff, going out to eat all the time. What are you treating yourself for? Because you have not been being productive at all. You have not been on your Zoom. You have not been doing what you're supposed to do. So you need to restrict yourself like you would a child and say, you're not getting XYZ until you do these things that you're supposed to do. Hey girl, welcome back to my channel. My name is Trinity if you're new here, and today we are going to be talking about productivity hacks. These are things that have been helping me to be more productive. If you watch my vlogs, or I guess if you're not new to my channel period, then you know that I have been struggling with productivity for the last few months. I have slowed down on YouTube. I basically stopped posting on Instagram and TikTok. I've just had a lot going on like in my mind, and I have not been productive at all. And I needed to get a grip on life. So I sat down recently and just came up with a bunch of different ways to help myself to be more productive. So if you're struggling, hopefully this video helps you to get more things done and to just be on top of everything and to be on your Zoom, okay? Before we go any further, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, especially if you love content like this to help you to become your best self, because that is what my channel is all about. And without further ado, let's get right into the list. Number one is to wake up earlier. I know y'all are probably like, oh my gosh, everybody says this when they're talking about being more productive, but it's actually a thing. That's why everyone suggests it whenever they're talking about ways to be more productive. Me personally, I decided to start waking up earlier because I am a mom, and I find that my mornings are very rushed and chaotic when I wake up at the same time as my son. It doesn't matter what time it is. I just cannot wake up at the same time as him. I have to get up before him in order to feel like I'm having a slow morning and in order for me to have a calm morning. Now, if you don't have kids, don't feel like this one cannot apply to you, because it definitely does. I definitely feel like you get way more things done in a day when you wake up earlier, because it puts you in a more productive mindset. And it also helps you with committing to things. If you can commit to waking up earlier every day, you can commit to doing whatever else is on your to-do list. If you've seen my recent vlogs, you know that I've been waking up at 6:30 a.m. This week, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't do it because things have been a little weird with, you know, the holidays, Jack's been out of school, and we recently had snow in Baltimore, so he was out of school for 2 days this week, and I just wasn't about to do it to myself. So I was just like, you know what, wake up at whatever time you want, girl. But yeah, I started waking up at 6:30 a.m. a few weeks ago because I noticed that Jax wakes up anywhere between like 7:30 and 8 o'clock, and I needed some time to myself in the morning. I noticed that I was skipping breakfast a lot because I didn't have time to eat. Even though I was taking time out to feed him, I felt like I didn't have time for myself to eat breakfast. I also always talk about the fact that I am really trying to get closer to God. Like, I have been a Christian all my life. My dad is a pastor. I grew up in church, all the things, but I really want to have a more intimate relationship with God, and that includes reading my word more, talking to him more, praying more. And I noticed that the best time for me to do that is in the morning. If I wake up at 6:30 and I have a whole hour to myself, I can do things like eat breakfast, take my time with my skincare routine, read my word, pray. Because oftentimes I put things like that off till the end of the day. Like, I'll say, okay, this is going to be a part of my nighttime routine. But the nighttime routine is a little chaotic too, because I'm trying to get Jax ready for bed. So I just find that it's easier to do these things in the morning. 6:30 might not be early for a lot of people, but it's early for me because I don't like getting up before the sun comes up. That's my thing. If the sun is not up, I don't want to be up. But I had to force myself to be an early riser. That way I can be in a better mood throughout the day. And I will say this, if you saw the vlog where I started waking up at 6:30 a.m., it actually feels good. Like, the first time I did it, I thought I was going to be miserable because, like I said, I don't like getting up before the sun is up, and it be like pitch black at 6:30 a.m. at this time of year. But I actually felt so good the first day I did it. I felt so calm and at ease and at peace when I went throughout the rest of my morning, even after Jax woke up. And that put me in the mindset of, okay, I can do this all the time. I can commit to this. Number two, less phone time. Because I'm waking up earlier, I have to find ways to make it easier for me to wake up early. Especially because, like I said, this past week, I fell off. I was waking up like between 7:30 and 8 o'clock. So I got to get back in the swing of things. And I read something the other day. It said that you should try putting your phone away between the hours of 10 p.m. and 10 a.m. And I was like, that's actually a great idea, because one, if I restrict myself and don't allow myself to be on my phone after 10 p.m., that will force me to go to sleep earlier. I be up all night, and that's because I be on my phone all night. I be on Pinterest. I be coming up with the best content ideas at night. I be doing a whole bunch of stuff, shopping online. and it keeps me up. And I know it's the phone because I'll be saying, oh, I can't fall asleep, I'm not sleepy. But as soon as I put the phone down, I be out. And then the fact that I can't really be on my phone until 10 a.m. the next morning, that will work well for me because it will allow me to get ready the next morning without getting distracted. I often get distracted by my phone. I be on schedule until I pick up that phone and get on Instagram or TikTok or start checking emails. Next thing you know, I'm way behind schedule, dropping Jacks off at school late, getting to the gym late. So it will definitely benefit me and you to give yourself restrictions when it comes to your phone. Your restrictions may look different, but definitely limit your phone time because we all know that these phones and social media and everything else that's on the phone hinders our productivity tremendously. And another thing related to this that has really been working for me is putting my phone far away from me whenever I'm doing things that require me to focus. For example, whenever I'm editing videos, I like to edit on my couch in my living room. So I'll take my phone and I'll put it on the charger in the kitchen. That way I'm not tempted to look at it every 5 seconds because I don't want to get up every 5 seconds to look at it. I'm more likely to read text messages, answer my phone when people call, scroll through social media, all those things when my phone is near me. And I notice that about myself. You gotta know your triggers. You gotta know what stops you from being productive. You gotta know what slows you down when you're doing things that require you to focus. So if you work from home or you have some type of project that you need to do in the house or whatever, put your phone in another room so you're not even tempted to touch it until you finish whatever it is that you have to do. Number 3, give yourself incentives. This is one that has been working wonders for me. I talked about this in a vlog as well, but this basically means reward yourself with the task that you enjoy the most. It doesn't even have to be a task. Like you can reward yourself with something that you've been wanting to buy for a while, or I don't know, treating yourself to lunch once you complete a task that you may not have really wanted to do, or something that may usually take you a really long time. For example, the day that I started doing this, Aaliyah dropped a vlog. Aaliyah's face, for those of y'all who don't know. She dropped a vlog, and everyone knows I love Aaliyah's vlogs, but I had to edit that day. And I told myself, okay, you cannot watch that vlog until you edit your video. And giving myself this restriction made 2 things happen. 1, I got right to it. I immediately started editing. 2, I worked a whole lot faster because there was something I was excited about doing afterwards. It's kind of like, you know, raising kids, how they say you shouldn't reward bad behavior. A lot of us, including myself, be rewarding ourselves for bad behavior and for being unproductive. The day I decided to start that whole give yourself an incentive thing, I had to give myself a reality check. I told myself, girl, you out here buying all these things, treating yourself to all this stuff, going out to eat all the time. What are you treating yourself for? Because you have not been being productive at all. You have not been on your Zoom. You have not been doing what you're supposed to do. So you need to restrict yourself like you would a child and say, you're not getting XYZ until you do these things that you're supposed to do. We gotta stop rewarding ourselves for nothing. Honestly, if you have a whole lot of work to do throughout the week, or if you have videos to film or whatever, if you have stuff to clean in your house, tell yourself, I'm not going out this weekend if I don't get this stuff done. I'm not going shopping this weekend if I don't get this done. And let me add, it's easy to say it, but it's a little bit harder to actually stick to it. So you have to stop being so lenient with yourself. My friends had to tell me this when I was having a mental breakdown a few weeks ago about how unproductive I felt. They were like, you gotta stop being lenient with yourself. You have to hold yourself accountable. You don't always need an accountability partner. Sometimes you have to hold yourself accountable and tell yourself that you need to get on your stuff. You need to be able to tell yourself, look, I don't deserve this if I don't do this. Number 4 is habit stacking. I feel like I've mentioned this in one of my recent videos, but just in case, we're going to touch on it again. If you've never heard of habit stacking, it's basically pairing a new habit with one you already do daily or weekly, whatever. When you pair a new habit with an old habit that you're already consistent with, it increases the likelihood that you'll stick with that new habit. Now, sometimes it can mean doing both things at the same time, but habit stacking can also be saying, okay, right after I do this, I'm going to do this. Basically training your brain to cue you to do the new habit whenever you do the old habit. If you want to try habit stacking, I suggest listing out all of your daily habits, things that you do every single day. And I mean down to showering, washing your face, brushing your teeth, and then make a separate list of things that you would like to do more often. Things like drinking more water, reciting affirmations, listening to podcasts, taking vitamins. These are things that I know a lot of people probably want to do, so I just thought to list those things out. But your list doesn't have to be composed of those things. Your list can look totally different. Just make sure you have those 2 separate lists, because we want to try to figure out a way to take each new habit and pair them with an old habit to make it a little bit easier for you to be consistent with them. Now I'm gonna give y'all a few examples of some habit stacking that I do or things that I see other people doing. The first thing that came to mind when I thought about this was my mom, how she calls Jax every morning on her ride to work. She makes a conscious effort to call him every day, and it's easiest for her to call him in the morning when she's on the way to work because she can talk to him while he's on the way to school. I always talk about how I like to listen to podcasts in the gym. Not even just podcasts, but like motivational YouTube videos, anything that will really stimulate my mind and motivate me and encourage me and help me to stay on track with things. I like to listen to that kind of stuff in the gym. It's very rare that I'll listen to music while I work out. I just can't do it. Like every time I start off a workout listening to music, I'll probably make it like 10 minutes before I'm like, yeah, I gotta find a video or something, because I need something to really pour into me while I'm working out, because half the time I don't even really want to be there. Another example, I started praying during my shower a while ago, because when I'm in the shower, I'm not on the phone, I'm not really dealing with Jack, so that's time that I can spend with God. Because at first I was doing it on my drive to and from work, but once I had Jax, like, that was out the window because he interrupted me every 5 seconds. So it just made more sense for me to do it during a time like my shower. Those are all examples of doing something new while doing something that you already do consistently. But like I said, habit stacking can also be using an old habit as a cue to do something new. For example, if you have an alarm that wakes you up every morning and you want to start drinking more water, you can say to yourself, every morning as soon as I turn my alarm off, I'm going to have a glass of water, or I'm going to drink a bottle of water before I even get all the way out of the bed, or before I leave out of my bedroom. Another example, if you want to start taking vitamins, you can set your vitamins up right in the bathroom next to your toothbrush and your toothpaste. That way, right after you brush your teeth, you can take your vitamins. That's my cue every morning. That's how I remember to take them all the time. My last 2 productivity hacks are tips that I talk about all the time, especially recently since I've been trying to really get on my Zoom. And the first one is having a weekly prep day or a weekly planning day where you sit down and plan out your whole entire week. This is the day where you write down everything that needs to get done that week, whether it's work related, appointments that you may have, or things that your kids may have to do, your grocery list, meals for the week. Just start off with your list and then look at your week and see what day each thing needs to get done. I noticed that this is what I was missing for the longest time. I always talked about daily to-do lists, which we're going to talk about next, but it really wasn't enough for me to plan by the day because I wasn't really getting a good glance at what needed to be done in that whole week. You need to see everything on one list and look at your whole week and be able to sort out where each thing should go so that you're not overwhelmed on certain days. On my weekly prep day, I now figure out what content I'm going to film. I have all of my notes done on that day because I used to just say, okay, this week I'm going to post this, and then I would wait until film day to write out all my notes, which took out way more time. So then half the time I wouldn't even film. Like, it just pushed everything back. So now I do that at the very beginning of the week. I know what meals I need to cook. I know what groceries I'm going to get before grocery shopping day even comes, before meal prepping day even comes. And that has made all the difference. And last but not least, again, I say this all the time, but this is one thing that literally works every single time I do it. Like, it really makes the world of a difference. And that is plan your day the night before. I know it sounds like a small thing, but it really makes a huge difference. When you wake up in the morning, you should already know what your day is going to look like. You should not be waking up in the morning and going about your day just winging it. Like, oh yeah, at some point today I'm going to do this. At some point today I'm going to do this. At some point today I'm going to do this. No, it shouldn't be no at some point. You should know exactly what your tasks are, which requires you to prioritize, by the way, because you should not have a list of 10 things that need to get done, because then you'll be like me and do absolutely nothing because you're overwhelmed by the thought of having 10 things to do. Simplify it, prioritize. Every night, write down all the things you need to do the next day, and then put timestamps on each thing. Timestamps help me to stay on track because there's this sense of failing when I look at the list and say, oh my God, I'm 3 hours behind. Not that it's good to feel that sense of failure, but it makes you feel like you need to stay on track. If you don't have any time associated with it, you'll feel like you have all the time in the world. And you really don't. Before you know it, the day will be over and you'll be looking at a list of things that's only got 40% completed. I noticed that when I don't have intentions for my day, I find myself wasting time. Planning is so important. A lot of us have all these goals that we want to accomplish, and this is not even just like on a day-to-day basis or a weekly basis. This is just period, like in life period. We have all these goals and they sound nice. All of our dreams sound nice. All of our aspirations sound nice. But when you don't have a plan, you're literally planning to fail. You have to have a plan in order to accomplish anything. I always talk about how systems and routines are important, And y'all know I'm transparent. I'm gonna tell y'all, I struggle with it really, really bad, because anything that requires you to be consistent is going to be hard. And I also always talk about how, as a mom, small things, little things that were once simple are no longer simple once you have kids. There's a lot more that goes into doing your daily tasks, but you have to put systems in place that make it easy for you to get these things done. And a big part of creating systems is creating routines, doing things consistently. A lot of us don't like doing things consistently because we get bored with the routine. We get bored doing the same thing over and over again, every day, every week. It gets boring doing the same thing every single Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever. But that's what you have to do. If you want to be productive, you literally have to set yourself up for success. It's not going to just happen. Success is not just going to happen by chance. You have to set yourself up, and that requires you to plan in advance. What are you going to do? How are you going to do it? What time are you going to do it? So as always, I hope this helped y'all. We are in this together. I am not perfect at all, and I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I feel like I struggle with being consistent on YouTube, or I've been struggling being consistent on YouTube and with my content period, because I'm going through this period where I don't feel like I'm super duper productive. I don't feel like I am really getting things done. I don't really feel like I'm accomplishing much. And I be getting imposter syndrome sometimes. And I know that that's nothing but the enemy trying to stop me from getting my message out. Because at the end of the day, I don't have to be perfect to give y'all a message. So hopefully y'all can be patient with me while I'm trying to get through this little rut that I'm going through. I think I got it pretty figured out. So hopefully we'll be back in action pretty soon. But I love y'all so much. Make sure you subscribe if you have not already. And I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.
Said you to me, I'm just